A key does not exist for itself. It exists for what it opens, for what it reveals, for what it grants access to. But the key you carry tells more about what you have locked away than what you are trying to open. It speaks of the doors you believe need unlocking, the rooms you think contain your answers, the belief that somewhere, behind some door, is the thing that will finally make you whole. Today, we invite you to choose a key, not to open anything, but to see what you have been seeking all along. Before you are 4 keys. An ancient brass key with ornate patterns, a crystal skeleton key that catches the light, a rusted iron key worn by time, and a modern digital key that pulses with technology. Do not choose what looks most beautiful. Do not select what seems most powerful or evolved. Do not pick the one you think will open the most doors. Instead, feel which key already lives in your pocket. Which one you have been carrying without realizing it. Which one you reach for every time you encounter a locked door in your life. Alan Watts once said that the menu is not the meal. So choose the key that reveals not what you want to access, but what you believe you are missing. Your choice is made. Now, let us see what it reveals about the doors you have been standing in front of all along. If you chose the ancient brass key, you believe that truth is hidden in the past. You are drawn to what is old, to forgotten knowledge, to teachings that have been passed down through generations. You carry the ornate brass key because you believe that somewhere in history, in ancient texts, in the wisdom of those who came before, is the answer to the question you have been asking your entire life. This is your search. You read philosophy. You study spirituality. You collect teachings like some collect treasures, convinced that if you can just find the right Keitha, right teaching, the right practice, the right master you, will finally unlock the door to enlightenment, to peace, to the understanding that has eluded you. People see you as wise, learned, someone who has done the work, and you have. You have studied, you have searched, you have turned over every stone in the ancient temple of human knowledge. But what you have not done is stop searching long enough to realize that the door you are trying to open does not exist. You are the keeper of the ancient brass key, the one who believes that wisdom is somewhere out there, waiting to be found. If only you can locate the right lock. But the ancient brass key carries a trap disguised as devotion. Because when you believe the answer is in the past, you never arrive in the present. When you are always searching for the teaching that will finally unlock you, you never notice that you are never locked to begin with. You have become a collector of keys. You try this teaching, and when it does not open the door, you move to the next one. You try this practice, and when enlightenment does not arrive, you decide you need a different key. You are always one book away, one retreat away, one teaching away from finally understanding. But Watts would tell you that there is no door. There never was. You have been standing in an open field, holding an ornate brass key, searching for a lock that was only ever in your imagination. The search itself has become the obstacle. The key has become the thing preventing you from seeing that you were already inside the room you were trying to enter. You study Alan Watts. You study the Buddha. You study every teacher who ever spoke about liberation, and you miss the irony that they all said the same thing. Stop searching. You are already what you are looking for. Watts once said that trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. The ancient brass key has taught you to honor wisdom, to learn from those who walked before you. But what it is teaching you now is that wisdom is not founded, is recognized. That the teachings do not unlock youth, they remind you that you were never locked. You are learning this, that the ancient brass key is beautiful, but it opens nothing. That the ornate patterns are just decoration on a tool that has no function because there is no door. That every teaching you have ever studied was not giving you new information, it was pointing you back to what you already know. The brass key is old because you believe that truth is old. That the longer something has been repeated, the more true it must be. But age is not wisdom. Age is just time passing. And you have spent so much time collecting ancient keys that you have forgotten to live. This is your teaching, that you can honor the teachings without making them into another barrier. That you can study wisdom without using study as an excuse to never embody it. That the ancient brass key was never meant to open doors, which was meant to remind you that doors are illusions. If you chose the ancient brass key, you are searching for what cannot be found. You do not need more teachings to be whole. You only need to stop collecting keys and start noticing that you have been standing in the room you were seeking all along. Your true self is not waiting behind a door. It is what is looking for the door. The awareness that holds every key, but is unlocked by none. And when you finally put down the brass key, not in rejection, but in recognition, you will discover that you were never seeking wisdom. You were only avoiding the present moment. And the present moment is where wisdom has always been. If you chose the crystal skeleton key, you believe that transparency will set you free. You are drawn to what is clear, what reveals, what exposes. The crystal skeleton key is the master key, can open any lock, access any room, reveal any secret. And you want it because you believe that if you could just see everything clearly, if you could just know the truth of every situation, every person, every hidden thing, you would finally feel safe. This is your drive. You need to understand. You need to see beneath the surface. You need to know why people do what they do, why things happen the way they happen, why you are the way you are. You believe that ignorance is suffering, and that clarity is liberation. So you seek the skeleton key that will unlock every mystery. People are drawn to your intensity, your refusal to accept surface explanations, your commitment to digging deeper. You are the one who asks the questions no one else dares to ask, who looks at what everyone else ignores, who demands truth even when truth is painful. You carry the crystal skeleton key because you believe that seeing clearly is the path to freedom, that transparency is the antidote to suffering, that if you could just unlock every door, you would finally understand. But the crystal skeleton key carries a burden that becomes unbearable, because the more you see, the heavier the seeing becomes. The more you unlock, the more you discover that some doors were locked for a reason. The more transparent everything becomes, the more you realize that not all truth is liberating. Some truth is just painful information that does nothing but confirm what you feared. You use the skeleton key compulsively. You unlock your own past and find trauma. You unlock other people's motivations and find betrayal. You unlock the nature of reality and find meaninglessness. And instead of putting the key down, you keep unlocking, convinced that if you just go deep enough, if you just see clearly enough, you will find the one truth that makes all the other truths bearable. But you will not, because the crystal skeleton key does not lead to liberation. It leads to analysis paralysis, to knowing so much that you cannot act, to seeing so clearly that you can no longer feel. You have unlocked every door and found yourself standing in an empty mansion with perfect knowledge and no life. Watts would tell you that the problem is not what you do not know. The problem is that you believe knowing will save you, that you have confused understanding with being, that you are using the skeleton key to avoid the simple, terrifying reality that life is not a puzzle to be solved, is an experience to be lived. Watts taught that the scholar's mind is like a mirror that reflects but does not judge. The crystal skeleton key has taught you to seek truth, to look beneath surfaces, to demand clarity in a world that offers ambiguity. But what it is teaching you now is that not every door needs to be opened, that not every secret needs to be revealed, that sometimes the wisest thing you can do is leave the key in your pocket and simply be with what is. You are learning this, that understanding is not the same as experiencing, that clarity is not the same as wisdom, that you can see everything and still miss the one thing that matters, the present moment where nothing needs to be unlocked because nothing is locked. The skeleton key opens everything, but it also prevents you from staying anywhere. You open a door, see what is inside, and immediately move to the next one. You never inhabit any room long enough to feel at home. You are too busy unlocking to ever simply be. This is your teaching, that you can seek truth without making seeking into a compulsion, that you can look clearly without needing to see everything, that the skeleton key is powerful, but power is not the same as peace. And peace is what you are really seeking beneath all the unlocking. If you chose the crystal skeleton key, You believe that truth will set you free. You do not need to stop seeking truth. You only need to recognize that the deepest truth is not behind any door. It is in the one holding the key. Your true self is not revealed through unlocking. It is the awareness that remains constant whether doors are open or closed, known or unknown. And when you finally put down the skeleton key knot in ignorance, but in wisdom, you will discover that you were never trapped by what you did not know. You were only trapped by the belief that knowing would save you. If you chose the rusted iron key, you carry what was never meant to be carried this long. The key is old, worn, corroded by time and tears. It no longer fits any lock that exists in the present. It opens doors that have long since been demolished. But you carry it anyway, because it is the key to your past, to your pain, to the rooms you once lived in that you cannot let go of. This is your burden. You hold the rusted iron key because somewhere in you, you believe that if you keep carrying it, if you keep holding onto the past, if you keep the key even though the door no longer exists, you are somehow honoring what happened, remaining loyal, refusing to forget. You are the keeper of old wounds, old relationships, old versions of yourself. You carry the key to your childhood home, even though someone else lives there now. You carry the key to the relationship that ended years ago. You carry the key to who you were before the trauma, before the loss, before the world taught you that nothing gold can stay. People see you as someone who has depth, who feels deeply, who does not forget, and they are right. But what they do not see is that you are not remembering. You are refusing to let go, and there is a difference. But the rusted iron key carries a weight that is slowly crushing you, because the past is not a place you can return to. The doors are gone. The rooms have been repurposed. The people have moved on. But you stand there with your rusted key, trying to unlock what no longer exists, convinced that if you could just get back in, if you could just return to what was, everything would be okay. You tell yourself you are honoring the past, but you are not. You are imprisoned by it. The rusted key is not a memorial, it is a chain, and you have locked yourself to what was, unable to move toward what is, because moving forward feels like betrayal. The key is rusted because you have been holding it so tightly for so long. Your tears have corroded it. Your grip has worn it down. It no longer works. It cannot open anything. But you cannot release it, because releasing it would mean admitting that the past is gone, that you cannot go back, that the only direction available is forward, and forward is terrifying. Watts would ask you, what are you really holding? Is it the past, or is it the story you have told yourself about the past? Is it the memory, or is it the identity you built around the memory? And who would you be if you finally put the key down? Watts once said that the only way to make sense out of change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. The rusted iron key has taught you to remember, to honor what was, to carry the weight of your history. But what it is teaching you now is that honoring the past does not require carrying it forever, that you can remember without being imprisoned, that the key was never meant to be held this long. You are learning this, that the past is not forgotten when you release the key. It simply stops controlling the present, that you can acknowledge what happened without making it into an anchor that prevents you from moving. That the rusted key is not a treasure, it is a burden you have been afraid to release because you do not know who you are without it. The iron is rusted because it has been exposed to the elements too long. It was meant to be used and then retired. But you have kept it active, kept it in service, kept it in your hand long after its purpose was fulfilled. This is your teaching, that you can honor the past by building a present that is worthy of it. That the greatest tribute to what was is not to stay there, but to become someone who has integrated it and moved forward. That the key can be released. The door is gone. And you are still here. If you chose the rusted iron key, you are holding on to what no longer exists. You do not need to forget the past to move forward. You only need to stop using the past as a reason to stay exactly where you are. Your true self is not the keeper of old keys. It is the awareness that can remember without being trapped, honor without being imprisoned. And when you finally release the rusted key knot in rejection, but in completion, you will discover that the past was never holding you. You were only afraid that without it, you would disappear. but you cannot disappear. You can only transform, and transformation is what the past has been preparing you for all along. If you chose the modern digital key, you believe that the future holds what the past could not provide. You are not interested in ancient wisdom or transparent truth or old memories. You are interested in efficiency, in optimization, in the clean, frictionless experience of a life that works. The digital key is programmed, customizable. It can be updated, replaced, reconfigured. It is the key of someone who believes that the right system, the right technology, the right approach will finally unlock the life they are trying to create. This is your belief. You are always upgrading, always optimizing, always searching for the better version, the more efficient method, the life hack that will finally make everything smooth. You carry the digital key because you believe that life is a problem that can be solved through better design. You are drawn to minimalism, to systems, to routines that promise mastery over chaos. You track your habits, you measure your progress, you quantify your life because numbers feel safer than feelings. Data feels more reliable than intuition. The digital key represents your commitment to making yourself into the best possible versions. Streamlined, optimized, in control. People admire your discipline, your clarity, your ability to make life look effortless. What they do not see is how exhausting it is to maintain the system. How fragile the optimization becomes, how one disruption can crash the entire program. But the modern digital key carries a coldness that is mistaken for clarity. Because when life becomes a system, humans become bugs in the code. When you optimize everything, you eliminate the friction that creates connection. When you track and measure and quantify, you reduce the mystery of being alive to data points that miss the entire point. You use the digital key to unlock productivity, but you have locked away spontaneity. You have created efficiency, but you have eliminated play. You have mastered your routine, but you have forgotten how to live. Everything works, everything is optimized. And you are more alone than you have ever been because the digital key does not open doors to other humans. It opens doors to better versions of yourself. And you are so busy becoming better that you never arrive at good enough. The digital key promises control. And you want control because you are terrified of chaos, of uncertainty, of the messy, unpredictable, unquantifiable reality of being human. So you keep updating the system, convinced that the next version will finally give you the peace that this version cannot. But it will not. Because the peace you are seeking is not found in optimization. It is found in acceptance, and acceptance is the one thing your digital key cannot unlock. What's taught that you cannot have a front without a back, an up without a down? The modern digital key has taught you to create systems, to optimize, to bring order to chaos. But what it is teaching you now is that life is not a problem to be solved, that efficiency is not the same as fulfillment, that the smoothest system is also the most fragile one, because it has no room for error, for change, for the beautiful accidents that make life worth living. You are learning this, that you can have structure without rigidity, that you can have systems without becoming systemized, that the digital key is useful, but usefulness is not the same as meaning. And meaning is what you are really seeking beneath all the optimization. The digital key can be updated infinitely, but each update is just another layer of control over something that was never meant to be controlled. Life is not software. It is not a program to be debugged. It is a messy, organic, unpredictable experience that refuses to be optimized. This is your teaching, that you can plan without needing to control, that you can create systems without making yourself into a machine, that the digital key is powerful, but the most powerful thing you can do is sometimes let the system fail and discover that you survive anyway. If you chose the modern digital key, you believe that control is safety. You do not need to abandon all systems to be free. You only need to recognize that the life you are trying to optimize is also the life you are trying to avoid living. Your true self is not the system. It is the awareness that can create systems and release them, optimize and accept, control and surrender. And when you finally allow the digital key to malfunction, when you let the routine break, the system crash, the optimization fail you, will discover that you were never controlling your life. You were only controlling your fear of being out of control. And the moment you stop fighting chaos is the moment you discover that chaos is not your enemy. It is where life actually happens. Keys do not create doors. They only grant access to doors that are already there, or doors that were never there to begin with. Carl Jung understood that what we seek reveals what we believe we lack. The ancient brass key for those who believe wisdom is lost. The crystal skeleton for those who believe truth is hidden. The rusted iron for those who believe the past is unfinished. The digital for those who believe the future can be controlled. But Alan Watts would remind you, the door you are trying to open does not exist. You are standing in an open field, holding a key, searching for a lock when you were never locked to begin with. The key you chose reveals not what you are seeking, but what you believe is preventing you from having it. And what you believe is preventing you is always some version of the same thing. The belief that you are incomplete, that something is missing, that somewhere behind some door is the thing that will finally make you whole. But you are already whole. The key is unnecessary. The door is imaginary. And you have been free all along. So, what now? Perhaps you recognized yourself in the key you chose. Perhaps you saw the door you have been trying to unlock. Perhaps you felt uncomfortable because the key revealed that you have been searching for something that was never lost. All of this is the recognition. You are not here to find the right key. You are here to see that you have been carrying keys to doors that do not exist, that the search itself is the obstacle, that the key is the thing preventing you from noticing that you are already inside. Today you chose one key. Tomorrow you may realize you do not need any. Not because you have given up, but because you have finally recognized that there is nothing to unlock. Do not make the key your identity. Let it show you what you have been seeking, and then put it down. Because the truth is, you are not the ancient brass, not the crystal skeleton, not the rusted iron, not the digital code. You are the awareness that can hold any key and release any key. The presence that exists before any door, behind any lock, beyond any need for access. And that presence was never locked. It only believed it was. And belief is the only lock that has ever existed. Alan Watts once said, "Muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone." Today, you chose a key, but the key was not the point. The point was to see what door you believe stands between you and peace, between you and freedom, between you and the life you think you should be living. The key revealed your belief in separation, in incompleteness, in the idea that somewhere else, in some other time, behind some locked door, is the version of reality that will finally feel right. But there is no door. There never was. You have been standing in the room you were seeking all along. So carry your keys or put them down. Search for locks or recognize that locks are illusions. Unlock doors or realize that doors are just walls you have been taught to believe in. But never forget, you are not the key. You are not the door. You are not even the room. You are the awareness in which all keys, all doors, all rooms appear. And that awareness needs no key, because it was never locked. If something in this reflection unlocked something in you, if you recognized the key you have been carrying, we invite you to share it in the comments below. Not to explain what you found, not to describe what door you are trying to open, but simply to acknowledge what you have been seeking. To witness and be witnessed by others who are also learning that the search is the obstacle. Each comment is a releasing of a key. Each share is a recognition that the door was never there. And together, we create the space where all of us can finally stop searching and start being. There are more reflections waiting, more symbols, more invitations to see yourself clearly without needing to unlock anything. Stay, not because you need access to something you do not have, but because something in you recognizes that you already have everything. And until we meet again, remember this: you are not the key, you are not the lock, you are not the door. You are the open space in which all seeking happens, and that space needs no key. See you in the next reflection.